My favorite place on Route 66. This one might really surprise you.
America Viva! On the road, talking about lived history, remarkable places, and real life.
Hello and a very warm welcome to On the Road. Once again from Brazil, as you can probably tell from the background. And once again, the subject is Route 66 for a very specific reason. A few days ago, the Visit USA Committee launched a worldwide survey among journalists, asking what is your favorite place on Route 66. I was invited to take part because I made a film about Route 66 for Arte, the German-French TV station. I produced a Lange Nacht, three-part audio documentary for Deutschlandfunk in Germany, and I did a podcast about it, about Route 66 for my English language website. And because I've traveled Route 66 several times over the past 30 years, once more along its entire length, and several times on individual sections. I've been thinking there are plenty of places along Route 66 that are all about the past. Places where hardly anything has changed over the years, or at least they present themselves that way. My favorite place is different. Kingman, Arizona. I first came to Kingman in 1996, more or less by accident. I was researching various stories in Arizona, and Kingman seemed like a convenient base. A little town in the desert consisting of not much more than any Divine Drive, the main street, a handful of old motels, and the Hotel Brunswick. Clark Gable and Carol Lombard had stayed at the Brunswick on their honeymoon. The hotel had charm and was run by a French couple who had fallen in love with the Wild West. And of all places, right in the middle of the desert in Arizona, they were running a French restaurant. Even back then, that was pure Route 66 to me. Coming from somewhere else, settling down along Route 66 and building a new life for yourself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like the French couple who eventually gave up. Over the years, I kept coming back to Kingman. The city is a fantastic base for visiting classic Route 66 places like Seligman and Oatman, or the Grand Canyon, or, here's my personal tip, Havasu Pike Canyon, the side canyon of the Grand Canyon, for people who love adventure and hate crowds. Every time I came back, Kingman had changed, a little at least. The city grew, but for a long time it managed to retain its character as a forgotten little desert town in the middle of nowhere. Today, that's completely different. Kingman is kind of a boom town. A lot of people from California have moved here, and companies have relocated their headquarters to Kingman as well. The city now has excellent restaurants, a blessing especially when you're traveling Route 66 and have spent days or even weeks with no alternative to usual diner. Still though, I look back to the 1990s with a certain sense of nostalgia, because something has been lost. The Brunswick, for example. Today it stands empty. The old motels, a certain vibe, that sense of defying the passage of time. A life that wasn't staged for visitors. For me, the French couple embodied that perfectly, doing the wrong thing in the right place and not giving up, at least not for a while. But the longer I think about it, the more I believe that these very changes reflect the true spirit of Route 66. The road was never just about nostalgia. In fact, it was never about nostalgia. It was always about setting out, about hope, and about believing in a better future. People came here to make a fresh start. Some stayed, some moved on. Businesses opened, others disappeared. Towns grew, reinvented themselves, or faded into obscurity. That's what makes Kingman for me the embodiment of Route 66. Not because everything there has remained exactly as it was, but because the city has kept changing. After all, Route 66 was never an open-air museum, as it is today for many people. It was a road of new beginnings, the highway of dreams, as I called my podcast. I don't feel that spirit in the classic Route 66 towns. Not in Oatman or Seligman, Arizona, not in Erik or Shamrock on the Oklahoma-Texan border. And not in Cuba, Missouri, where the Wagon Wheel, the oldest continuously operating motel on Route 66, is located. But I do feel it in Kingman every time I go there. I hope you enjoyed this episode of On the Road. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. The next On the Road goes online on Tuesday, August 18th, as always at 5 p.m. Central European Time. Ciao, your Tom Noah.